What's happening, everyone? We're kicking off another week and Europe is already spiraling into chaos. Let me start with what's really grabbing headlines from the United States, because this affects all of us. President Donald Trump just delivered a crystal clear message to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after last week's strikes against criminal leadership in Qatar's capital. Trump's words were direct: they need to be very, very careful. That's his message to Israel. They need to deal with the criminals, sure, but Qatar is a major US ally. If you're new here, I'm Andrew Meet Rich. I used to work inside a state-run media outlet, saw how stories were twisted to fit the narrative, and I walked away. Now I'm independent, I speak freely, and I tell you what really matters. And right now, what matters is that Trump expressed clear dissatisfaction with Israel's unilateral action in Qatar's capital, calling it something that doesn't serve US or Israeli interests. This is getting complicated fast. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is heading to Qatar tomorrow, and here's what's fascinating. Before this Qatar trip, he just met with Netanyahu in Jerusalem. They even visited the Western Wall together, where Rubio put on a kippah and joined Netanyahu in prayer at this sacred site, with the US ambassador to Israel right there beside them. During his Jerusalem visit, Rubio confirmed unwavering US government support for Israel in achieving its goals in the Gaza war. But get this, speaking to journalists before flying to Israel, Rubio emphasized that Trump is unhappy about the strikes on Qatari territory. Despite this tension, Washington will continue supporting Israel. It's a diplomatic tightrope walk, and frankly, it's getting messier by the day. If you're finding this analysis valuable, hit that like button and subscribe, because these global connections matter more than most people realize, and I need your support to keep bringing you this independent perspective. Now let's dive into the European chaos that's unfolding right before our eyes. Brussels is under attack again. This time they targeted the car of a Polish member of the European Parliament, Waldemar Buda. Thankfully, he wasn't in the vehicle when it happened. According to him, 9 shots were fired into his car using pneumatic weapons. This appears to be a targeted attack, in his opinion. Belgian police have launched an investigation into this incident, but it's still unknown whether the attack has political motivations. Think about this for a moment. We're talking about targeting elected officials in the heart of European democracy. This isn't random violence, this is calculated intimidation. And it's happening in Brussels, the supposed safe haven of European politics. Meanwhile, in Germany, specifically in Dortmund, another shocking incident unfolded at the central train station. According to federal police, around 2 in the morning, patrol officers noticed a scuffle between a taxi driver and his passenger. When police tried to resolve the conflict, the suspect attacked the officers. We're talking punches and kicks flying everywhere. They wrestled him to the ground, put him in handcuffs. But that was just the beginning. This maniac spat at the police officers and bit one of them on the finger. He bit so hard that the officer had to be hospitalized. They took the perpetrator to the station, but on the way there he continued hurling insults, tried to break free, and even kicked a police officer, injuring his own knee in the process. Are you seeing the pattern here? This is what law enforcement is dealing with across Europe every single day. They took him to the hospital where doctors provided treatment. After the attacker calmed down, they decided to release him. You heard that right, they let him go. But then he attacked the police officers again and was wrestled to the ground once more, requiring another hospital trip. Here's the most incredible part. Despite the fact that the bitten police officer was hospitalized, according to law enforcement, there were no grounds for arresting this biting enthusiast. What kind of twisted legal system are we dealing with here? This is the state of European justice, folks. Police officers are being hospitalized and the criminals walk free. If this doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what will. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think about this insanity, because I want to hear from you. At almost the same time, British police announced they're prepared for practically any surprises during President Trump's state visit this week. Security services have developed a very comprehensive law enforcement and safety operation that accounts for virtually all possible scenarios. That's how they announced it. As we know, US President Donald Trump is arriving in Great Britain for a state visit lasting from September 17th to 19th. The Brits are taking no chances, and honestly, given everything we're seeing across Europe right now, I don't blame them. The security concerns are real, and they're escalating. This isn't just about protocol anymore. It's about protecting world leaders in an increasingly unstable continent. Now let's talk about France, because while new Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu is trying to save the budget and negotiate with political parties, Marine Le Pen is gathering crowds and intensifying her pressure. In Bordeaux, the leader of the national rally spoke before thousands of her supporters. She accused President Emmanuel Macron of driving the country into a dead end and called her party the only real alternative. Le Pen also declared that the country is blocked, Macron is paralyzing institutions, and the far left is taking to the streets, setting trash cans on fire, and that's not a solution. Before her appearance on stage, notice this: Louis Alliot, her former political partner, accused the left and honored the memory of American activist Charlie Kirk. The crowd erupted in applause during the speech. This is populism in action, and it's working. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu is conducting the most complex negotiations, trying to unite the right and moderate left for the 2026 budget. But Le Pen isn't giving him room to maneuver. She also accused Macron of changing prime ministers like gloves just to preserve his power despite falling approval ratings. And again, she's demanding snap elections. Her ally Jordan Bardella declared, "We don't sell out like the socialists. We're different." The crowd chanted, "Macron resign, Macron resign." In private conversations, as reported, Marine Le Pen compared Macron's alliance with the socialists to a kiss of demise. But Le Pen herself has a problem. She's temporarily suspended from elections due to embezzlement charges, as you know. An appellate court awaits her in January. She denies everything completely and refuses to back down. Le Pen makes it clear she's not going anywhere. And France is preparing for a new nationwide strike day on September 18th. The transport minister warned of a black day for the sector and the probability of major problems. Among railway workers alone, 4 unions are planning to strike. The Aviation Workers Union is also calling on its members to join the strike. But that's not all. Most education workers' unions plan to join, stating they're protesting not only against planned austerity measures, but also demanding action on the substantial growing problems in schools. Pharmaceutical and energy sector unions have their own demands too. Basically, nobody in France is satisfied anymore. Everyone's ready to strike. This is what happens when a government loses legitimacy. The entire system starts breaking down, and we're watching it happen in real time. Also generating intense discussion today is an event that took place in the Vatican. More than 80,000 people attended an unusual concert held in St. Peter's Square, which concluded the worldwide meeting called Human Brotherhood 2025. People were amazed by the drone show. Drones from a company owned by Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, created Pope Francis's face against the backdrop of Michelangelo's dome. Italian Defense Minister Guido Crosetto and Rome Mayor Roberto Gualtieri were among those watching the show in the square. The Vatican is clearly trying to keep up with the times. Everyone noticed that. Famous artists performed, but the unusual choreography of drones and light inspired by images from the Sistine Chapel naturally made a huge impression. Even the Vatican is embracing modern technology and spectacle. It's fascinating how traditional institutions adapt to stay relevant. Here's something you won't believe. On a flight from Tel Aviv to Bucharest, a massive brawl broke out. The incident occurred on the night of September 14th to 15th. About 30 passengers got into a fight. It was such a serious scuffle that after an emergency landing, law enforcement intervention was required. All conflict participants were Israeli citizens, but they were from different religious denominations, so when some started praying, others got angry, and an argument erupted that quickly escalated into a mass brawl right aboard a flying aircraft. It's hard to imagine the state of other passengers, flight attendants and pilots. Religious tensions literally exploded at 30,000 feet. This is what happens when deep-seated conflicts follow people wherever they go. The sky isn't even safe anymore from these divisions. And in the United States, one of California's most famous chefs, Valentino Luchin, who was previously head chef at legendary restaurants, but those establishments closed due to bankruptcy several years ago, and the chef began having serious financial problems. In an attempt to solve them, here's the first case in his biography. In 2018, the master chef already robbed a bank branch, threatening with a pneumatic pistol. In his defense, the chef previously stated that he found himself in financial need and problems need to be solved. But after the first bank robbery, his name disappeared from restaurant reviews. Now prosecutors are fully preparing new charges across several episodes. Valentino is in a detention center and understands that banks are definitely not his element, but this is how things happen in our time too. From master chef to bank robber, it's a fall that shows how economic pressure can destroy anyone. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you want more of this unfiltered analysis, and consider becoming a channel sponsor, because independent journalism needs your support now more than ever.